Hey guys, welcome back to the shop, Fire Creek Forge. We have some projects to do today. We've got some forges here, neither of which have doors on them. Now I've done some different things in the past to sort of work around that, and primarily that has been putting something at the back, whether that's a fire brick or a piece of ceramic wool, which I don't really like to do that because particles can come off of that, and if you breathe that too much, it gets lodged in your lungs, and that's not good. So I've done away with that, and I've purchased some fire bricks for the purpose of building some forge doors. It'll be pretty simple and hopefully effective, so let's talk about how that's going to work. One of the inherent problems with any kind of fire brick and or forge lining is the expansion and contraction that takes place as you use the forge, heat it up, turn it off, cools back down. The expansion and contraction is going to crack your fire brick no matter what you do. And that is one of the big reasons for a good containment, the steel casing here. So for example, the fire bricks in here and in here, they're all cracked up, but they're not going anywhere because they're held together. So simply putting a brick at the front or back of a forge, that'll work for a little while to make something that keeps the heat in, and that does make a big difference when you're trying to heat a piece of steel up. The problem is that this is going to crumble and go to pieces in a relatively short amount of time. So my plan today is to go ahead and create a simple but much longer lasting forge door using some angle iron and some other stuff. All right, so my little single burner forge here, front or the back, doesn't matter, they're both the same, and I've used them side to side or front or back different times, but it's not gonna take a full brick here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down, and this will cover the door nicely, and then we'll go ahead and create some kind of a frame to hold this and put a hinge on it. So to talk about fire bricks a little bit, there's different kinds, and this particular brick here is just a standard fireplace type brick, which is going to be probably your cheapest option out there. To be honest, I thought I was ordering the lighter, higher temperature, white colored bricks that I actually have in the forge here. They're more expensive. I couldn't seem to find them or something, but this is going to work fine. But the other ones are going to reflect heat a little bit better, be a little bit more efficient. Either way, it's going to be okay though. Yeah, not perfect. It'll work. Okay, I got some angle iron here. This is 1/8 inch by, I want to say 3/4. Doesn't really matter the size exactly. Maybe something a little wider would be better to contain that, but I don't want it to be too heavy either. So we'll just create some clips or something. All right, so we've got the brick encased. I'm gonna come back and make that a lot better, finish these up. But before I go any further, I don't want this to start tweaking out on me and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and put my brackets or clips. I'm gonna cut this one in half. All right, so I've got this all gobbed together, and now I just need to put together some kind of a system to hinge this here. So I gotta think about that for a second. So I thought about it for a minute, and actually I think the simplest and most effective method is gonna be to simply use a shelf that this sits on and can slide out of the way as needed. That's gonna be a lot quicker, simpler, and frankly less prone to breaking or wearing out, and when I need to replace this brick at some point, I won't have to actually cut it off of the forge or anything like that. All right, so for the front, I went a completely different approach here and a little simpler, I think, actually. But you know me, I like to try different stuff to see what works, and you know, this isn't super innovative or anything, but it's a little different approach to the same issue. So for this one, we're gonna need some kind of shelf or stop for it to sit on, and then a couple of guides so that it can slide up and down, and I guess, obviously, some kind of handle to lift it with. So let's get that installed. All right, there it is. There's the front one, and I'll be interested to see which one lasts longer. I'm expecting this one to last not quite as long, just because it's a little bit less encased with the angle iron. But quick and dirty forge doors, you know, just get something on there so I can get back to making knives. But I'm interested to see how these different designs work. Quick little side note here, these bricks, as they do sometimes, has some moisture in them apparently. So I had this running for about 2 or 3 minutes, starting to see some moisture cook off here. And you want to do that slowly so they don't pop, but little side note there. All right guys, there you have it. Quick and dirty forge doors, simple, effective, and inexpensive. No use in reinventing the wheel or making things overly complicated if you don't have to most of the time. So that's going to be a lot better for reflecting that heat back into the forge, conserving fuel, getting up to a higher temperature if necessary, and heating your steel up quicker. So keep in mind too that you'll notice that those are nothing close to airtight, which is a good thing because the Venturi burner does need ventilation out of the forge in order to work properly. So having those gaps is actually by design or a convenient aspect of the build that we tossed together here. I'm excited to see how long they last and how well they work. Like, I'm tried a couple different designs there to see what I like better for future builds or things like that. I'm sure that it's going to last a lot longer than simply sticking a brick in front of the door because it's contained. So when it does crack, it's not just going to fall apart. And when it does need to be replaced, all I have to do is, cut those welds with a cut-off saw on the angle grinder and stick a new brick in there, weld it back up. And so I'm assuming that won't be for quite a while. Anyway, I hope this video was informative and helpful to you. Appreciate you guys watching as always. Don't forget that you can support the channel simply by hitting like, subscribe, leaving a comment, all that great stuff, and I appreciate every time you guys do. And we will see you on the next video.